Hello and welcome once more to the Indie Ocean video review and let's play channel, and at the moment the Ghoulin Misery channel, as many of you know. But I'm taking a break from enduring Ghoulin to bring you the third video in my Quick Peeks at Overlooked Games series. This one is the third in the initial trinity of vertical shooters that I'm covering in this series. This is Break Limit. We started with Prismatic Solid, which brings some strategy and tactical thought to the vertical shooter by having repositionable shields located around your ship. Then we had Vampire Rage, which is much more traditional, but amusingly gothic, and starring a vampire who goes "No!" in a Darth Vader-like fashion whenever he gets killed. Now we have Break Limit, which is... well, it's still a vertical shooter, clearly, but in some ways it's more a time trial race to the finish sort of thing. The idea is that you have this break limit bar in the top left of the screen, and when you pull the right trigger you launch into your break limit mode, which allows you to basically plough through anything in your path without taking damage. But the bar depletes pretty quickly, and as you might expect, when it's empty you can't do this anymore. You recharge the break limit bar by picking up the blue orbs that you see scattered quite liberally around the levels. But the challenge really is in balancing how much you use the break limit ability with how quickly you can recharge it by picking up the blue orbs. And the objective is to get to the end as quickly as possible, but also while scoring as many points as possible. So in that way it's quite old-fashioned. You can also use the weapons, and the weapons are essential for the points where you don't have any break limit left or you think it's unwise to use it. Generally it's advisable to use the break limit as much as possible, but I find it's a bad idea to deplete it all and leave yourself in a situation where you don't have any left for an emergency. Particularly later on, in this level for instance. It's similar in all levels that I've played. I don't think I've played all of them in the game though. But later on in this level you'll see there are some sections of moving landscape where you really wouldn't want to be without a healthy supply of break limit bar. And that's the challenge here really, balancing it. Of course on higher difficulties, I'm playing this on easy, and it's not tough. It's still quite tough to do well, but it's not that hard to avoid dying. I still get killed from time to time, but it's not that tough. But there are two, I think, more difficulty settings that do ramp up the difficulty quite noticeably. I do really badly on the middle difficulty setting, and I haven't even tried the hardest one. But still, the aim of the game is more geared towards how quickly and you can get through the levels and how highly you'll score, rather than just getting to the end. You'll notice there are also changes of orientation. It's such a simple thing. There isn't that much difference between a vertical shooter and a horizontal shooter. Really, it's just the direction of movement. And yet, this simple adjustment from one to the other and back again is something I'm not sure I've ever seen before, and if I have, certainly not often. But it's a little thing, very easy to do, and yet it really helps to make the game feel fresh and like there's some variety in it. So between the interesting break limit mechanic that makes it more important to plough at maximum speed through everything that gets in your way rather than shooting enemies without taking a hit, and the alternation between vertical and horizontal shooter, and the fact that usually when it switches to horizontal you can choose one of two paths which have different layouts and different arrival times and locations of obstacles. Break Limit does keep things interesting. It's not a long game. I think there are only 3 or 4 levels, plus 3 difficulty settings for each level. But it does offer some variety and some replayability, and it's not something you will play for hours on end, but that's true of most of these sorts of games. You will come back to it, though, for the odd play now and then, or at least I do. So, if you like the idea of a vertical shooter that actually de-emphasises the vertical shooter aspect in favour of some other things, then by all means give Break Limit a try. I wasn't convinced by the description of it, but once I played the demo, I was sold on it very quickly. For 80 Microsoft points, you can't really go wrong. On that note, I will leave you until later in the week, at which point I will have the next This Is video. I have a couple more trilogies lined up, but I also have 2 or 3 standalone videos. I'm not sure yet which I'll do next, so the next This Is will be a surprise to me as well as to you. In the meantime, keep yourself busy by watching my surprisingly well-received slog through the appalling, grotesque Ghouling. Ugh. I'll have one of those coming up later in the day. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.